Welcome to the Holley Hub. Here's our 2 cents on current events.
Welcome back to the Holley Hub. I'm your host, Elijah Bibby.
And I'm co-host Daniel Norman.
And this is The Beat. Alright, starting off, we're going to be talking a little bit about baseball. Do you like baseball, Danny?
Yeah, I like baseball. Do you like baseball, Eli?
Yeah, it's America's favorite pastime. Yeah, I'm a fan. Anyways, the Los Angeles Dodgers, I don't know if you heard, but they're in the World Series for the second straight year, and they're looking for their first championship in 3 whole decades.
Well, that's sweet. The Dodgers will face off against the Boston Red Sox, a franchise that's won 3 World Series titles since 2004.
Good luck to both teams. Up next, Mexico's Pacific coast braces for Hurricane Willa, which will likely slam into the country today as a dangerous Category 3 storm.
Willa's maximum sustained winds are about 145 miles per hour. The storm is expected to pass over the islands of Islas Marias before making landfall on the Mexican mainland.
Some Mexican states could be hit with up to 12 inches of rain, possibly spurring landslides and flash flooding.
Willa is on track to be one of the strongest hurricanes to ever hit Mexico's Pacific coast. 2018 has seen 10 major hurricanes in the Pacific, including Willa, which ties 1992 for the most major hurricanes in the Northeast Pacific in 1 year.
Over here at Holley Hub, we hope everyone stays safe. Up next, President Trump wants to dump the decades-old Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty with Russia. The treaty, signed in 1987, eliminated thousands of ground-launched ballistic and cruise missiles.
Trump says Russians have been violating the agreement for years and puts the U.S. at a disadvantage with China's missile arsenal. Trump's
hawkish national security advisor, John Bolton, is seen as the driving force behind this. He will surely talk about it when he meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin this week.
The decision is still unknown at this time whether the treaty will be pulled or not.
Up next, we have the disappearance of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi is a deal as the Turkish officials reportedly say they believe he was killed by a Saudi murder squad.
After finally admitting Khashoggi is dead, Saudi Arabia tried its best this weekend to spin an explanation to the world.
The kingdom said Khashoggi died in a fistfight in its consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. Saudi Foreign Minister Adil al-Jubair said it was a tremendous mistake carried out by a rogue group that would be punished. Moving on, Africa's youngest billionaire, Mohamed Douji, at age of 43, was kidnapped and held hostage.
Mohamed, who was sieged by a gunman outside of a luxury hotel 12 days ago, but he is now home safe after his kidnappers freed him just 3 days ago, according to the police.
I'm glad he's safe. For the first time, President Trump called himself a nationalist during a rally in Texas last night for Senator Ted Cruz, fully embracing the label that's defined his populist rhetoric and protectionist policies.
The president also escalated his attacks on the migrant caravan making its way through Mexico. He claimed without a shred of evidence that MS-13 gang members and unknown Middle Easterners were among those in the caravan.
Thanks for tuning in to the Holley Hub. Be sure to like and subscribe for more podcasts. I'm your host, Elijah Bibby.
And I'm co-host Daniel Norman.
And this has been The Beat.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Hi, I'm Jake Peters.
And I'm Jordan Grind.
And welcome to Grinds My Gears. So this is the first episode, so I guess we should go through what exactly Grinds My Gears is. It's basically where I just, vent about
anything you hate.
Yeah, anything in general that I really hate. But with that, let's get into the first one. Just pronunciations, like how people pronounce things. It's just.
And the first one here, caramel or caramel?
It's caramel. You live in Holley, New York, USA, North America. But no, it's caramel. If you say caramel, it sounds in my ear just like grinding. It's caramel. There's no. Okay, there is a second A, but it's not caramel. It's caramel. And okay, the next one, go ahead.
All right, and the second one here, milk.
It's not milk. There's no E in milk. If you say milk, I don't know what's wrong with you, because it's milk. M-I-L-K, milk, no E in milk. Okay, keep her going.
The next one, bagel or bagel?
It's not bagel.
Bagel.
You don't say bagel. There's no bagel. It's bagel. Bagel. Just, no. Okay, I'm getting
got a lot of
going
food
already.
on here.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Only those two, but. All right, well, the next one here, you might want to elaborate on that a little bit. I mean, that's very vague.
So, people in general, just walking in the hallway, dawdling super slowly for no reason. Speed up, okay? I don't want to be on your behind, okay? Just keep it going, walk at a normal pace. I know I walk fast, okay? I know that, but still, there's no reason to just walk and then just slowly down the hallway. If you're trying to get somewhere, go there, dude. This isn't a social Sunday drive. Same with people who run in the hallway. You'll get there when you get there. You have 4 minutes between each class. I'm sure you could do an entire lap around this school walking in 4 minutes.
Well, what do you think about people that just stop in the middle of the hallway? Just stop and stand there and talk to somebody.
You don't stop and just have a conversation. You move to the side, and this scares me, because eventually these people will one day be driving on the road. Are you about to just, I have a phone call, let me stop? No. You go over to the side to the person you're trying to talk to. Don't stand in front of me, please, for the love of God. It's just, okay, I'm getting going, but anyway. What's the next one?
Next one, having to lift a toilet seat? Well, people in Japan can press a button.
So, it's just so unsanitary. You have 4 fingers that you have to push down to get this lever to flush. Why don't you just press a button? If you just one little tap, one finger, and it's all gone. It's easy as that. But instead, we have to take our entire freaking hands no.
Well, as long as you wash your hands real good, you'll be fine. I mean, what's
It's
wrong with
still
hands
gross.
using
Your
them to pick
hands-
up a toilet seat? Are hands insufficient?
Yes, your hands are gross, dude. No matter what you do, your hands are gross. Okay, what's the next one?
People with an ego the size of this planet.
Okay, I know sometimes I may have an ego, so I am guilty of this too. But you are not the only person on this world. Just be a nice guy. Ain't nothing that you can do that someone else can't. So just really realize that you're special, but you're not super duper special in any way.
Everybody's special is what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
All right, well, the next one here, drunk drivers.
All right, this will be the last one because I want to end it on something, quick. This is more just like a PSA. Don't drink and drive, please. This is my worst fear, being a drunk driver and ruining someone's life. If you're driving, and you have a car, and you're drunk, it's so easy to get Lyft, Uber, a cab. Cabs go everywhere, man. Please, seriously, if you're drinking, intoxicated in any way, or under the influence of anything, please don't drive. It's only gonna ruin you and everyone around you. So just call a cab or something. But with that, I think that's it.
We're all out of time.
Yeah. This is a bit much.
Took a minute on one segment, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so this has been Grind My Gears with Jake Peters and Jordan Grind. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Wings with the left and right meet. I'm your host, Greg. On the left, we got Maddy and Abri, and on the right, we have Joel and Mike. Today we're going to be talking about the Electoral College and debating whether it should be in place or be replaced. First question for both sides. Why is the Electoral College either efficient or inefficient in election process?
Well, I'll go first. The Electoral College should not be in place because even in some states, one vote, like one person doesn't equal one vote. And some people during elections don't even feel like their vote counts because if you're on one side and that side gets 50.01% of the votes, you automatically win the whole entire state while the other votes just end up not counting. So it should be either fixed or replaced.
Abri?
I don't think we should replace it completely, but I think maybe in the future there could potentially be some things done to make it more efficient. Because like Maddy was saying, you can win an entire state by getting 0.01% more voters, and I think that is unfair. I like the idea of like the split state votes better than just giving one side everything.
So you would be in favor of a proportional vote in the Electoral College, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think the system, it works most of the time, but there's been a couple occasions where it doesn't agree.
4 out of the 56 presidencies.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good number. Just something has to be done to fix that one couple of times.
All right, for the right?
Well, like you said, Maddy, about how some people feel their vote doesn't count, that's almost the idea of the Electoral College, is that if you live in a state that is like 90% Democrat, then the 10% Republican should not have as much of a say, because if there's like 10,000 Republicans but 10 million Democrats, then I think we would all agree that Democrats should probably have more say in what goes on in that state because they represent the state more with the higher population.
I believe that I myself believe that the Electoral College should be held up because it prevents rigging of the election from third parties trying to shift a certain way against either Republican or Democrat, and it gives smaller states a little more power in their votes for electoral candidates.
Does the Electoral College, however, cancel out the possibility of a third party having any say at all?
Well, yes and no, depending on the popularity of the third party itself. We do see cases where third parties will get some points in states and Electoral College votes, but there is also cases where there's simply the other two parties are much more popular, and yes, they do crush out the third party votes.
Joel?
Yeah, like Mike said, I think the two-party system we have now, while it's not perfect, it is more simple, and I think, yeah, the Electoral College does sort of cancel out a third party.
Would the left like to rebuttal? No? Okay.
Well, I don't know. It's just like a confusing system because essentially, like, it was originally created to separate like your average person from more educated people, so that way when you're voting, you have a well-educated population choosing the president instead of like just some random Joe Schmo on the street was like, oh, I want that guy. I think that that's a good idea, but you just have to decide whether or not you want your entire population choosing or an educated group choosing.
The thing is the people of the state don't even get to choose their representative that goes to Electoral College. It's the state that chooses the representative, so how does the state know every single person in the entire state wants that person? they're picking someone that doesn't represent what the people want, it's what the state wants.
Okay. Would the right like to rebuttal that?
Well, like you said, Maddie, I think a more democratic way, like you're pointing out, that the people in the state don't actually choose the delegates, the state itself chooses. But I think we would hope that the people choosing the delegates for the state do have the state's best interest in mind, but that is not a perfect system.
In my opinion, the Electoral College separates the country as a whole, giving the individual states instead of a whole country. If a majority cancels out the other party, then it's not necessarily fair, but it's not necessarily unfair. In my point of view, the majority of the people that shift a certain way in a state and grouping that as a whole is more effective in seeing which party and which candidate is better to be selected and put into place.
So, given that public education has been instituted in this country and is widely available to everybody, does that not discount the need for an electoral college? This is for both sides.
No, because that's kind of a hard question to answer, because people may get an education, but I know until this year I didn't know the difference, like the political scale. I didn't know like the spectrum. I didn't know which side was which. And nobody really talks about that until you get to 12th grade, and sometimes they don't even talk about what each side means. So instead of, how do I word this? Trying to, because you're saying now that public education is around, that's the reason we should get rid of the Electoral College.
Potentially.
That shouldn't be the reason you get rid of it, because they can implement something into school. However, there are other reasons in Electoral College that you should get rid of it, because, like, just an example, this past election we had, Hillary won the popular vote. Trump did not win the popular vote. So it showed that the people wanted Hillary over Trump, but Trump ended up winning because of the Electoral College.
Well, I think it just goes back to, like, the basic question. Do you want everyone to decide who the president is going to be? Because, I mean, is it really fair to decide who is educated enough and who is not? Like, I don't know if I agree with that. But I agree with the basic principle, because I think that the founders, they created the system because they were afraid of a dictator. They didn't want someone to rise to power and have complete control. And you could have rigged elections. There's so many different things, different possibilities that could happen. But I don't know. It's really difficult.
But with Electoral College, wouldn't that necessarily mean that the people that are choosing our representatives higher educated and more fit to see out who should be a representative than who shouldn't, than the majority and whole of the people?
Yeah, like Mike is saying, we believe that if the majority, just a straight popular vote, decided who would be the president, that's not really an accurate representation, because you could get 51% of the popular vote, but that still leaves 49% of the people wanting someone else, and 49% is quite a bit of the country.
And I've seen plenty of cases in history and in current time where people don't necessarily agree with the politician themselves, but they're just caught up in the hype. For example, Nazi Germany. Not everybody necessarily agreed with Hitler, but they were so much caught up in the hype that brought with him coming to power. They didn't necessarily agree with the racism, they didn't necessarily agree with his views, but some people were just hearing people shout his name and they agreed.
but every time you vote, it's a closed ballot. So how could people know? How could people be hyped up and vote for a certain person if that's not personally what their beliefs are? Like, yeah, you could say to someone, like I could say to you right now, hey, I'm going to vote for this person just because everyone else is saying that. But when I go vote my ballot, who am I actually going to vote for?
We see plenty of campaign rallies, don't we?
Yeah, I think I understand what Mike is saying, because some people can be easily swayed, and the idea of the Electoral College is that these people are supposed to be educated, they're supposed to know what they're talking about, and they're supposed to see which candidate will have the best policies and will help develop America, basically. And that's why I think the Electoral College is good, but my only problem is like the 50.01%, and that I feel like, because that's not just the regular people, that's your electoral votes. So your representatives, I feel like some states aren't getting the accurate representation.
Yeah, I think we would, we would agree with you that that could be fixed in the future. But for the time being, I think the system we have now would trump just straight pure democracy, mob rule.
I think just the problem with the Electoral College right now, the big outstanding one, is the states really aren't choosing the people who the people want. They're choosing representatives that they want over the people want.
And we would agree that's also not perfect.
All right. So we're out of time, guys, but that was a great discussion. This has been The Wings with the left and right meat. Thank you. Have a good day. Welcome to Tea Time with Greg. Sit back and soak it all in. Welcome to Tea Time with Greg. Today we have Mr. Bartalo on the show with us, and we are drinking chamomile tea.
Good morning, Greg.
Morning.
And I actually appreciate that you got me a coffee as a coffee drinker, but I appreciate that you're having chamomile tea. That's fantastic.
Right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you want the students and the families of Holley to know about you as the new superintendent?
Well, that's a great question. I would like them to know that, I guess we'll start with the simple things. I live over in the town of Sweden, just about 7 miles actually from my office, and I have a wife and 2 sons. My wife is a school counselor at the Brockport School District. She works at the high school, and both of my boys graduated from Brockport High School, and one is working, and he's managing in a restaurant, and graduated from Syracuse University. And my younger son is a junior at Ithaca College, where he's in the communications department, and he's on the men's swim team. So I spend a lot of time following him in his swimming career. So that's something that, a little bit about me. There's a lot of interests I have, including sports and athletics. I follow the Buffalo Bills very closely, and Syracuse University sports, because I went to Syracuse as well. So I have a keen interest in the men's basketball and football programs at SU. Go Orange. And I love music. I listen to music a lot. I like to go see live music.
What kind of music do you like?
Oh, I like lots of different kinds of music. I guess you'd say basically, my rock and roll would be first. But classic, older, rock. I like jam band music. I like folk music. I like blues, jazz, alternative music. So lots of different things. Even like some R&B and hip hops, but not too much.
Okay.
In terms of what I want families to know about me is I'm very committed to my work with the Holley School District and community to help make the school district even better than it already is. I'm very excited to continue this my educational career as a superintendent here, and I'm really excited. People have treated me great. The students are fantastic, as you know. Teachers have been welcoming, and I'm really looking forward to this journey and helping Holley to be the best school district it can be.
So, how long have you been a school administrator?
I've been a school administrator. This is my 21st year, believe it or not. I was a teacher and a coach, and later an administrator in the Hilton Central School District. I worked as an assistant principal for 6 years, 1 year as a dean of student before that, and then 13 years as a high school principal, so a total of 20 years in administration in that district. And so this is my 21st year as I start here in Holley.
What attracted you to the field of education?
Well, I was always interested in working with students, working with kids. So from an early age, I was like a recreation program worker, in the summers. I was a lifeguard. I taught swimming lessons. So I always had an interest. My family was all in education, my father and mother, many relatives. So it was kind of in my family. And so I was interested in working with kids. But I think the biggest influence was I became a counselor at a summer camp for kids with special needs. And it was a Rotary Club sponsored camp. It's called the Genesee Valley Rotary Camp. And my dad was on the board of directors. And he took me there when I was 15 years old because they needed a lifeguard. And so I actually started lifeguarding and then became a counselor, and I haven't stopped working at that summer camp. I'm now the director of the camp.
Wow.
But because it's for kids with special needs, it really made me understand and realize about myself that I really liked helping, in this case, kids with disabilities, special needs, and so forth. And so I got into the field of special education because of that. So that's really a lot of the influences, and that camp had a great, it was very meaningful and had great influence on my future decisions.
So, in your mind, what do you feel is the most important issue facing our education system today?
So there's a lot, and I think I'm going to start with equity. And I think the fact is, as a nation, we have such differing opportunities for individuals. So a system that I came from in a suburban, fairly affluent, and in a way, I mean, there were some pockets of folks that didn't have as much as others, but there was a number of people that didn't have to worry about finance, and the schools just thrive and have lots of resources and tons of things. And I think in schools where there's more poverty, that could be in an inner city, and that could be in an urban setting, or it could be in a rural setting. I think they're very similar. I think because we need to figure out how we're going to make education the best for all children. And so looking at resources, looking at parental involvement, looking at needs of kids is something that's universal, and it shouldn't just be for those that have the means. So I think we need to help our whole, whether in this case we'll say state, but nation, to think better about making opportunities for education more equitable, more not just for privileged folks in certain areas. And I know that could be somewhat controversial because people choose their own path in some regard, but I also feel like some folks have a disadvantage because they might not have the opportunities to get out of the system or the area in which they're in. And so we need to work on that. Beyond that, I really think issues in regards to having our schools prepare kids more for the future, because right now they do look more like the past than they do for an uncertain future. So more of a shift towards helping kids with skills versus content, helping them to be able to learn in a way that's going to prepare them for jobs that we don't even know exists. And I think that's really a challenge for education today, to try to think that way and be very visionary.
So, as you know, this school has, in years past, for many years, struggled to get the funding for the facilities that we now have. As great as they are, we did have a problem getting that funding for many years.
Sure.
So what you're saying is, a lot of schools have those problems, and we need to focus on making those facilities more accessible to all kids in education.
Sure, absolutely. Not just facilities, and that's a start, but also opportunities, and whether that's technology or whether that's programs or the best staff to support students, or a whole number of things. And I think, just in terms of how we address it, is that we begin to, ask the right questions. We start to begin to think of, again, what do we see as best for kids in one place should be for all kids. And I know that's very general, but I think sometimes we feel like, maybe there's an attitude, say, where, well, we can't do that because we're from,
right.
Fill in the blank. It could be Holley. It could be because we're from the city.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. It should be the same. And if the kids in more affluent communities are saying we want to have a global perspective in our education, then we should have that for our students as well, so that they're exposed to more than just what's in their small town or within their little city neighborhood. And again, I do see a lot of correlations there, and I think that's where we really need to focus.
Okay. So where would you like to see Holley School District in, say, the next 5 years?
So a few things have kind of come to my mind with this question, and I guess I'd like to have a feeling that's pervasive throughout the entire organization, from the students, the staff, and the families, that they're proud of being a Holley student or being a Holley resident or being a Holley employee, and that comes from high expectations and good results. And that could be academically, that could be in the athletic arena, that could be music, musicals, arts, every aspect of the organization where people feel a great sense of pride. I don't want anyone to ever use the excuse, can't because we're from Holley.
Right.
Don't want that to be in anyone's vernacular. It's I can, or I did, or I'm proud of. So I want people to be, when they leave, so when you graduate, I want you to be able to tell people in college or in your job or whatever you're doing as an adult, I'm proud that I went to Holley and I was prepared. So those two words, pride and prepared. So if we do our best to prepare you for the future, whether that's the rigors of college, whether that's to be a successful employee of a business or corporation, or in the military, or on a farm, wherever it is that you choose to work or to learn, that you're prepared for that. You have the skills to work, to think, to communicate, to solve problems, to get along with other people and collaborate and have an open mind. That's what I want to have within 5 years, Holley being that place. And people will be very proud of that. They'll be very, very proud. And I think if that attitude, if that environment is pervasive amongst all of us, I think all the rest will follow. So our scores will rise, our graduation rate will rise, our the measurables, if you will, that people tend to judge us against, like test scores and so forth, will all improve. And then people will have that sense of pride, and you'll feel more prepared, and there'll be this great feeling that we're small, but we're mighty.
Very well said. So, straying off of the education questions now, back to your sports.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the Bills record will be this year?
What do I think the Bills record's going to be?
Versus
what I want the Bills record to be. So I'm going to say, it's funny. I listen to sports talk radio in my drive in and out of work, and I watch a lot of sports things on internet and television, and they're always making these predictions. I always think, what would I say if I was asked, what do I think the Bills record's going to be? And I think I've settled on one that's disappointing, but I'm gonna say 6-10. Now, I think talent-wise, and with our quarterback issue right now, some people might not think we'll win another game, I think the coaching staff has the ability to get the most out of their players, and I think they're going to piece together some wins. I'd love to see them go 10-6. I'd love to see them go 9-7, so that they have a shot at the playoffs. But I think that might be a bit of a stretch. So I'm going to stick with 6-10, but then just be pleasantly surprised if it's better than that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming in this morning.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it. I hope this is a continual opportunity for me to talk with you and other students, whether it's on a podcast or just to chat about things. It's great.
As do all of us at Holley. All right, thank you.
Thanks again.
This is the United States with our exchange student, Janne Grasshoff. Today she's going to tell us something she finds interesting about America. Take it away, Janne.
Hello, yeah, I'm Janne, and I think one really interesting thing about your country is you're very proud of it. I think that's kind of a good thing, but I think I heard the national anthem of America more than the German one, and I saw more American flags than German ones. Yeah. And now I would say all this in German. So, let's go. Ja, was wirklich interessant über euer Land ist, ist, dass ihr sehr stolz auf euer eigenes Land seid. Ich glaube, ich habe die Nationalhymne von Amerika schon viel öfter gehört als die von Deutschland. Und ich habe definitiv schon öfter die amerikanische Flagge gesehen als die deutsche. Ja.
Hi, welcome to Youthful Yackings with Indigo and Ericka. So today on Youthful Yackings, we're going to be talking about how the internet is taking over. With online shopping, online groceries, even online school. It's getting ridiculous. What do you think, Ericka?
Well, yeah, I think sooner or later that people will end up going to church online.
I mean, right now you can watch church online, so things are just getting ridiculous. You can order cars.
Yeah.
You can get you can get food to your house in minutes for a small delivery fee. You don't have to worry about taking your whole family out,
That's true.
tipping anybody. Things are just getting cheaper, and you don't have the waste of groceries.
Exactly.
So as of right now, in this month, there are about 1.9 billion websites online, all for different purposes.
And there's almost 364 million people in North America using the internet, which is actually pretty scary. I mean, not scary because they're kind of evolving with the times, but it's
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially kids with phones now. That's gotta be ridiculous.
I know. I had an Android until last year, and I see all these 5-year-olds with iPhones, and I'm like, that's awesome.
I can't even say anything. When I was 9, my first phone was the iPhone 2. The guess that I was gifted. So I've been online ever since then, and it was probably not the healthy thing. So that's worryful about
I know.
These future generations. But
and as of June 30th, 2018, 95% of the population actually has internet in North America. So that's probably, I don't know how to do math.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Well, some of the most popular apps that we see used now are obviously Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube. And as of right now, every minute there are 400 hours of videos going up.
That's actually kind of crazy. Because there's people that upload the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's you have a preference to what you actually want to watch and stuff.
I mean, the fact that people can literally just sit in front of the camera and get paid as much as people working real jobs do every day.
I know. Wish I could do that.
It is so bad. It is intense.
About 95 million Instagram pictures are uploaded every day, which is crazy.
Again, people just getting paid. Instagram models take a couple pictures, put it on there, paid.
I know.
I want a brand deal.
I want a brand deal. Exactly.
I wish. Okay. So now I'm going to be talking about some online shopping versus actual shopping and some pros and cons with each of those. So,
when did you start online shopping? I started last year, I think, Christmas time.
I probably online probably halfway through middle school.
Halfway through middle school?
Mm-hmm.
I
was addicted.
What did you use?
Not my money. It was so bad. I mean, I was still smart about it. Like, I used the sale part online.
Well, yeah.
But
now you don't.
No. It's addicting. It's just like you're bored, so you can just go online. Like, you can't just go to a store when you're bored in the middle of school.
I know. Like, let's say you're just like, hey, I want some chocolate, but I want it from like Sweden, and you can actually get that in like 2 days, which is crazy.
Right from Amazon.
Yeah.
And stuff could just, especially pay for Prime, they come in 2 days, right to your door, done. You don't have to worry about like anything wrong with delivery, except when things were like pushed behind with like Hurricane Harvey and stuff like that. So I guess that could ruin you some of the online shopping.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Not to mention they deliver on Sundays, which most like post offices and all that don't do that. You can get your stuff faster, easy, carefree. Not to mention if you want something and it's not in like a store near you, it's 10 times harder to actually get it.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
But like the bad thing about it is like if you buy like a piece of clothing, like let's say I'm on Forever 21, want to buy a cute dress, and it's not the fabric that I want, and I get so annoyed. But then like if I go to customer service, they don't answer me. I have to message them like 3 times, and I'm like, hello.
They're really gonna put you on hold with that little music for 20 minutes.
Oh,
so no, instead I need to turn on my car, drive it to the post office, and stand there. And yesterday I did that, and all the machines were down for 30 minutes. It took me like 45 minutes to return a package.
It's so annoying because I remember, I think it was last December, I ordered clothes from Route 21, which it was my first time, and I was like, hopefully this all gets here on time. It did get here on time, but then I bought 3 pairs of like different colored leggings. All were ripped. They were all ripped in a certain area, and I was like, I'm gonna email them. Took them 5 days to answer me after I emailed them like 4 times. It was so annoying. But I mean, I got them for free, so it doesn't matter. But
it's like you pay all that money.
Yeah.
For what?
That's like the only good thing about shopping in the store. Not to mention you can also try it on too.
Sometimes though you can like see it, if you see it in the store and you try it on in the store, and then you go online and it's on sale. You could beat the system that way. I've done that 20 times to count.
There's pros and cons to online shopping.
This has been our segment on the internet pretty much taking over and online shopping versus actual shopping.
We'll see you soon in the next segment. Bye.
This has been our 2 cents on current events. Thanks for listening.